the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Hi, Rich Hoffman here. So it's really it was good. The last day of February 2026, Michael Ryan had a couple of events where he was launching the Boots on the Ground campaign for his run for Commissioner Butler County, and it had a great turnout. There's a lot of really, I would say, important political backing behind him, politicians that have come out and supported him, including people who traditionally have supported someone who's running against him in this race, Cindy Carpenter, who's the current county commissioner. And she got caught supporting Democrats in Middletown and a number of other things. She's got herself in a whole lot of trouble. That happens to people who get into these positions and just kind of lose sight of reality. And they have just been around for too long. And then, of course, there's another person running against Michael Ryan. He's a long-term political fixture in Butler County. And it's Roger Reynolds. And, these are, why would you want to be a commissioner, for one thing? And so what people have learned over the years is that there's different degrees of success in these positions, and how much free market but careful management of the resources does it take to be a good commissioner. And I think we've seen enough out of Cindy Carpenter over the years to know that she just doesn't have that finger on the pulse, and it's turned into she's turned into a bit of a tyrant over time, and it's come out in her personal life. And she's got herself in trouble with this whole Miami University thing, which was she's now under the investigation by the prosecutor's office for complaints that have been made against her. And if you're a good communicator and a good commissioner, not that everybody's going to get along with you all the time, but you shouldn't have the kind of problems she does, and that comes from really just not being very good at the job. And she's been in commissioner for over 12 years or so, and if that's as good as it gets, that's not very good. And of course, Roger Reynolds has a lot of the same kind of issues. He been in politics for a long time and finds himself at odds with various people, whether that ends up in court cases, whether that ends up in various presentation to himself to the community that invites a lot of scrutiny. You kind of want someone in these big positions that doesn't get in that kind of trouble. It doesn't have those kinds of social problems, and is a lot better of a communicator to avoid those perils. So so Michael Ryan, to me, he's been a great vice mayor in Hamilton and a city council member in Hamilton. A lot of great economic rebirth has occurred under his watch as a city council member and vice mayor, and he's been associated with a lot of success. But he's just a good guy. He speaks well. He comes across in a caring way to people, and I think he represents the next generation of Republican. And when I say, I always refer to him as a young man. He's 40, so to me that's a young man. But he's been around and done plenty, and he's at a great age for a new generation of Republican leadership, especially coming from the commissioner's office. And I can see the commissioner's office taking the great things that it has done. Cindy Carpenter hasn't been part of that greatness, but becoming better by continuing what worked and extending it on what we've learned by that. And Michael Ryan's a natural extension. He has the official Republican Party endorsement, so there's no ambiguity about that. And he's running a good campaign. So everybody got together to go out and knock on doors and pass out some T-shirts for him and get people to know who he is a little bit, and get ready for the primary. And and then the general election coming up. And I thought there were some good statements, which I'll share here, that were done at this event.
I seen this on a friend's Facebook page this morning, and I think it's important that we start off with the prayer today. I didn't do that in Hamilton, sorry, but I think in the times it's very important that we start off with this prayer. So if you bow your head, God, you know where every deployed soldier is today. You know their assignments, you know their thoughts, you know their fears. Guard them, body, soul, and mind. Draw every one of them close to you as they face intense situations. Be their peace. Amen. Amen. We'll take 10 seconds to just have a moment of silence to honor these soldiers that go out there. And you know what? I've heard a couple times today that, they fear this war with Iran because it may affect our midterm elections. Well, how about every midterm election since 1980 when they started this mess?
Yeah.
It's our job to finish it. We got the right guy in there right now to finish the job. So let's go and let's get behind him. But let's take a moment of silence to please recognize our soldiers who have been fighting that battle. Thank you. All right, so today we're here for Michael Ryan. We're here to start a workforce. We all know this. Change is inevitable. It's inevitable. It happens everywhere. It's necessary and it's beneficial. And sometimes it even comes at the most opportunistic times. And I think we're there now. In nature, change occurs in order to clear out stagnant growth, making room for stronger and more resilient life. It's able to adapt and change with the environment. The changes ultimately strengthens the environment. And here we are today, the same principles apply in politics. Today marks the moment of that inevitable change at the most opportunistic time. This change is Michael Ryan, beginning his journey towards serving Butler County as your Butler County Commissioner. Michael has earned his seat at the table. He's fought hard. He's fought beside many of you, such as Thomas Hall, Nancy Nix, great friends with Gary Cates, Mike McNamara. He's fighting this together with us, including myself as Hamilton City Councilman. He's helped strengthen me as an elected official. Here's the thing. Michael has proven himself as a decisive victor in the fight against unjust taxation. Our fight against Miami Conservancy District was a war, and man, it was a great war. It was a great win. He's demonstrated leadership capacity in working alongside elected officials as well as industrial giants such as Amtrak. He's also a man of great character. He demonstrates great composure at the bench, and he always has great integrity. One thing I think that we can say for sure is we're not going to have any negative publicity on Facebook when it comes to his character and his actions. And I'm very proud of him. We touched on Miami Conservancy District. There's no bigger fight in the state of Ohio that affects our county as much as property tax. Michael has proven that he stood up. We stood up together. And man, I learned a lot from him. I learned how to collaborate with elected officials and our citizens so that we could put up a battle against Miami Conservancy District. His composure and integrity and his ability to navigate through those difficult issues makes him ready for this position today. I'm very proud of that fact. I'm very proud to have fought right beside him, and the fact that he helped me learn how to do those things. The things that may have been some of my weak points in the beginning. Our relationship has grown. I'm very proud of that. I've learned a lot from him. When he told me he was going to do this, there's always naysayers in this. You get hit with rocks across the board from everywhere in all directions. And when he called me up and he told me he was going to become bold. In respect, Michael was able to hold relationships that doubted him. In tough personalities in Butler County, am I right? Sheriff Jones at first said, "Hey, Michael, I've always supported Cindy." He goes, "I'm sorry, I can't support you." Mr. Dixon said the same thing. Michael has entrusted their faith in him. And now, here we are standing today, and he has those supporters. And that's great. We need those guys. He is bold. He has come out against Cindy. Now, this is not the most important battle, though. This is not the most important battle. It's a battle we're going to win. It's a battle that we're going to win, but it's got to come from a grassroots effort. That we, standing in front of Michael today, must get behind him and back him 100%. We must hit the ground running. This position is more important than any other right now today. So I'm confident that he's going to get the job done. He's shown the leadership. He's shown all the skills that it takes. But the big battle comes in November. Our conservative values are at a threat. I'm going to let him touch more on that later, but we've seen it. We sat today in Hamilton, Ohio with a guy that showed up, Pat Bach, who should have been on city council, but he was undermined by people that were standing at the election polls lying. No, not good character. Not the character that he shows. But one thing that Michael stands for is our conservative values that we treasure. Our conservative values that are important and has led this country for 250 years. And today they stand to be threatened. We've seen it. We've seen it this week. We see it every day on social media. We see it every day on national media. They can't fill the time slot, so they got to talk about some crap that's terrible. Period. Michael stands for our conservative values. The importance of Michael Ryan continuing the conservative values on our county commission is of the utmost importance. I'm going to let Michael take over from here because I think he's got a message that he wants to talk about that's strong, and you're able to see what our conservative values are. Michael Ryan.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here this morning. Before I begin, I have a couple special guests that I want to introduce. Number one, my beautiful wife, Amanda, being here. My biggest supporter, and my older brother, Chris, gave a trip up from Hamilton. Thank you. And my boss from Western Southern, Aaron Wolf, who's a proud resident of Monroe. Aaron, thank you. We have a couple elected officials in here. Thomas Hall, State Representative. Thank you for being here. Julian Croucher, Trenton City Council. We got Joel Loud, Hamilton City Council. Michael McNamara, our County Treasurer. Michael, thank you so much. And Gary Case, State Central Committeeman. And Nancy Nix, our wonderful auditor. Thank you all so much for being here. So Joel hit on some good points. It is time for a change. It is definitely time for a change. That change is going to begin in May. May 5th is when this change begins, but we have to get to May 5th. But how do we do that? We got to get engaged. We got to get excited. We have to get involved. And it begins with this event and the one we had this morning. Everyone's getting activated. And that's the message that we have to take to our friends, to our family, to our neighbors, and to the voters. It is time to put someone in office that's going to fight for our conservative values, fight for what we hold dear. We're going to put someone in office that's going to be a voice for every city, township, and village in Butler County. And we're going to put a commissioner in office that's going to fight for 2050 and beyond. And Joel said it. This year, America is turning 250 years old, and we have one hell of a fight on our hands. But that fight, that victory, it begins May 5th. And we are going to deliver victory. We are going to deliver much needed change, because that's what our county deserves. And we are going to get ready for the future. We got to get ready for May 5th. Early voting begins here April 5th, and you got to get people activated. Make sure you register to vote. If someone's questioning who they should vote for, just ask them a simple question. Are you ready for change or not? Are you okay with the status quo? Do you want someone that's going to take Butler County to the next level? You want someone in office that's going to work well with others, build a unit, build a winning team for that matter, and deliver the results that we deserve. And if they can say yes to that, let's get them signed up. May 5th. May 5th is very important because that's going to deliver us to November. And we know we got a fight on our hands. I don't want to look too far into the fall, but the Democrats are activated. They're already starting right now. We got to get through May 5th first, and then we're going to get through November right after that. But we have a building momentum. We have a winning message, and we have a team that is growing by the day, but it has to continue to grow. It's very important. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for your prayers, your support, and your belief in me. That being said, I want to thank you all again for coming. We're going to be knocking on doors here starting probably about, I hope, 2 and a half weeks. If you need a sign, let us know. I got them here. If you got sign locations for the bigger signs, let us know. They are going to be being put up this week. So everything is starting. Momentum is there. The momentum is growing. And we are ready to win May 5th. And then we are going to be ready to win in November. So thank you all so much for coming. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless our troops. Thank you so much. That's all I got. Thanks for coming.
Can we get contact information?
So that's always, when you do these kinds of events, people show up at them, always enthusiastic. The people who do show up to go knock on doors and do the background work, it's more than always a candidate. You can't just be, really, you have to, one of the strengths of these kinds of events is that how many people can you get to rally to your cause and show up, and how many people who are current office holders are actually willing to put their name to another person. That has a lot to say as far as trust goes. And then when people are voting, they know who's aligned with who, and how deep the roots go. Not that you want to elect politicians that are just affiliated with other politicians that are scratching each other's back for the detriment of all society. When you get people like Nancy Nix on your side, or George Lang, Senator George Lang, or Representative Thomas Hall, you are getting Treasurer McNamara in Butler County. These are all big names for respected political offices that are putting their name behind Michael Ryan. And that's fantastic early in a campaign. And when you see that many people show up to help him get across the finish line and let people know who don't normally think about these things every day, who they're voting for and what they can expect out of the representation, it's a good sign. Real good sign. Good crowd. And a lot of great enthusiasm early in the process. So when you hear Michael Ryan's speech, when he talks about change, well, if you like how things are, why do you want to change it? Why would you want change? And I think to the speech he gave at this launching event, the change he's talking about is a change from kind of ambiguity of Republicans that kind of play nice in the same box with Democrats, and being a lot more secure with what it means to be a Republican, instead of being like the team that's always playing the Harlem Globetrotters that's losing to the Socialist Democrats who are always looming in the background, and that Republicans had some sort of polite unspoken contract to just let them win for no reason. I think those days are over. And I think Michael Ryan represents that kind of approach, that kind of MAGA Republican approach. And as I was talking to everybody, we were talking about how exciting the future looks like it's shaping up to be. Of course, it's always up to voters. But when you think about people like Vivek Ramaswamy becoming governor in Ohio, and you think about someone like J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio being part of what comes after Trump. You have a couple of years of Trump, but then what? Is it just a flash in the pan, or are we looking at doing things significant for many years to come? And that's what we're talking about here. So when Michael Ryan talks about change, he's talking about change in how conservative leadership emerges into very important positions like the commissioner race, where you put your arms around capitalism. You don't feel like you have to play nicely with socialism and the New Deal politics of the FDR era, but you have growth and flourishing economies based on free market principles. And Hamilton has been a wonderful example of that. And Butler County would really sharpen up. It's always been good. But the change that he's talking about is a change from that almost apology. We have to apologize as Republicans for our success. And the change we want to have is we don't have to go out and campaign for Democrats to show that we're not mean, greedy Republicans. I think Michael Ryan and his wonderful wife Amanda and that generation of Republican are emerging in ways that they're well-spoken, they're intelligent, but they don't feel like they have to apologize. And they don't come across as terrible, mean, nasty people who have to apologize because they had success in life. And I think that's the change we're talking about. And also the other part of the change is there's always been Republicans, we've heard about it for years, that they get involved in these commissioner jobs, or they are trustees, or they become senators or representatives. We've had a very good senator, a couple groups of senators. George Lane definitely comes to mind. But you get some people who get in these positions. Roger Reynolds comes to mind, and they hit a plateau. They might have been pretty good at an aspect of the job, but when it comes to talking to people and kissing babies and doing the things that build the kind of the community good vibe, they just don't have it. Cindy Carpenter never had it. People gave her a chance. People like Sheriff Jones supported her over the years. Don Dixon, as a commissioner, certainly supported her. She's been, everybody's put her on a pedestal and hoped that she would catch on, and she just never did. And the more chances they gave her, the more that she'd made fools out of everybody. And that's culminated now with her being under investigation in the prosecutor's office because she just doesn't handle relationships with people very well. And that's the kind of stuff that I think Michael Ryan's talking about as far as change. The Republican perception is they go out, they're successful, they make money, they own businesses, or they work hard at the businesses they're at, and they're conservative, they go to church on Sundays, and they raise good families, and they somehow have to apologize for all that success. They have to apologize for the fact that they drive a decent car, or they have a decent house, or they've been married for 30 years to the same woman or man. They raise their kids, and their kids grew up and actually like them, and they all show up together at Thanksgiving dinner and enjoy each other's company instead of being the kind of train wrecks that you find in Democrat families, where everybody's on their multiple marriages and have all kinds of issues, and kids by all kinds of different spouses and everything. They're just train wrecks typically, and somehow Republicans are supposed to apologize for their success to people who haven't had it because they made bad decisions in life. And more you're seeing Democrats, especially under Trump's Republican Party, you're seeing a lot of Democrats. I mean, look at Fetterman. I couldn't stand the guy when he was when he was campaigning, he sounded like an outright socialist, Bernie Sanders socialist. And he has come, probably for his own survival in Pennsylvania, he's listening to his constituents, and he's become a lot more normal. And people can do that when they are approached with ideas and how those ideas are conveyed. People do change their minds. And we're seeing Democrats bleeding over from the Democrat Party into the Republican Party in dramatic ways. You don't see the trend headed towards Democrats. So bad decisions on people like Cindy Carpenter to align themselves with Democrats, because Democrats are going out of fashion in the United States. And people who abuse their power in these offices, because they have a lot of responsibility, all these offices, especially a commissioner job, who have shown they can't handle that kind of power and pressure, those people are going out of fashion. So the kind of Republican in the future are people like Michael Ryan. He represents that next generation, and you're going to see him, again, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Vivek Ramaswamy. Those are the kinds of Republicans that are going to move in as the current generation of Republicans kind of trade out. And that's not that they did anything wrong. I think it's just a growth pattern where you learn what works, what doesn't work. And when Michael Ryan's talking about change, do you want change? Do you want someone who isn't going to let the whole position go to their head? And I think that's what you get from Michael Ryan. And I would go on to talk about his very nice wife. She's a very good person, very nice to speak with, and she's a high quality person. And when someone like that chooses to be married to Michael Ryan, you can tell a lot about what a person is based on the kind of spouses they have, how they construct their home life. Not that that's everybody's business, but it is part of the decision-making process. If you can't run a household, if you can't be employed, gainfully employed for a good period of time, if you have trouble with other people in all kinds of ways, then you're probably not a good pick for a commissioner job. Commissioners need to be able to pull everybody together and recruit people from the other side to your side, and get people thinking the way that wherever the best evidence is in the theater of ideas and how they're presented, be inclined to change people's minds to a better way of thinking. And Michael Ryan has certainly shown that. And out of all the people running for the commissioner race, nobody has those skills better than he does. And I think it starts at home, starts with his relationship with his family, his in-laws, and his wife. Again, very nice people, and I really always enjoy talking to him and her. And I think the more that people get to know them as they they and their volunteers go knock on doors, and people see the T-shirts and get to know who Michael Ryan is, I think it's a no-brainer as far as elections go. He's the best person to win over anybody who's running for the commissioner in Butler County. He has the Republican endorsement. And there's some Democrats trying to, churn up some effort, but any grounds that Democrats have made in Butler County, they did it through deceit. And when you have to force everybody to put a D next to their name, it's much less attractive to moderates and Republicans who aren't going to be swindled into voting for the wrong person. And I certainly would say that's what happened in Westchester with the trustee race. Democrats think they had a victory there. And I would say they only did it because they had deceitful practices and trying to keep the Democrat affiliation under the radar because people who are just casually involved in politics and just show up and vote on election day and typically vote in Butler County for Republicans didn't know who all the people were. And they got hoodwinked there. And that won't be the case with Michael Ryan. By the time we're having our election and it's midterms, Trump's going to do a lot of campaigning, especially in Ohio, probably in Butler County. And Michael Ryan's going to be a part of all that because he is the next generation to carry the baton from what Trump has started as Republican Party and a MAGA Republican Party at that. But how it's going to grow from there into just about every office, and including the commissioner's office. and how that would transform over the next 10 years towards a much more business-friendly, upward mobility Republican Party from the commissioner seat that will benefit a lot of people in tremendous ways. And Michael Ryan is the start of it. And I'm very proud always to talk about Michael Ryan. It's good to see him. Good to see everybody out there to support him. And when it comes to elect him on the primary and on the general election, make sure to vote yes on Michael Ryan for Butler County Commissioner. Can't go wrong on that one. That's an easy one. But yeah, he's definitely a good guy, and it's always good to see good people like him getting into positions that are that important. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
Thank you for listening.